Hello, everybody, and welcome back. So, I'm still fighting for my life against the Novistadors. They're just as annoying as the beginning as the original one, as they are in this one. The original, I think what happens is that you end up falling down into like a prison cell sewer area of the castle, and they appear and because you see their green eyes basically like floating in the air and moving towards you, every time that you killed one you got like a jewel from it. So they're still just as annoying, but I like that they're having more of like the whole camouflage thing, because then, like I said, in the original you would just see their eyes floating, and it was because they were invisible, not camouflaged. So I like the little change that they did because you can see where they're trying to blend in with the environment. So, especially when, like, this area that has so many rocks and, like, debris and things like that, I can run by one and think it's just a regular old rock. And nope, it's one of the bugs, and he pops up and tries to kill me. So, you know how with other areas of the castle you can basically like clear out enemies and then be able to run around and get what you need? In this area, the Novistadors just continue to spawn. They're infinite, quote unquote. They're infinite, so you won't be able to basically like kill them all and then run around the area unimpeded.
There's gotta be a way to lower that drawbridge.
This game pretty much like conditions you. Like, you know how in video games you will have an objective, and usually the room before that objective is like filled with enemies, and you have to take them out before you get to the actual room. Like in this case, that's pretty much what's good. That's pretty much what him talking to me is telling me, that I have these guys to fight. So, yeah, that's fun.
Great. There's two of them.
Okay, let's try that again with less me running around like a chicken with their head cut off.
Great. There's two of them. Gotcha. Gotcha.
So I had the right idea in the first one, which was to take out all of the regular cult enemies before taking on the Gargoyles. That way, I only just have those two to worry about, and I don't have to worry about, all these guys. So if you don't have the bolt, basically the crossbow, I would buy it, because this is extremely helpful. You can make attached mines for the bolts, and those mines will help so much because you can attach them to surfaces, you can attach them to enemies, and like it will take care of like basically crowds of enemies. And I've said it before with like when we were doing the siege of the villa, that like the bolt is probably like a really good one that you could do. And yeah, I'm just letting them slap themselves. But yeah, like if you haven't already done it, definitely get it because it's extremely helpful. There's a challenge to beat these guys with knives only, and basically it's just sneaking up behind them and knifing them in the back, which is easy when there's one, but not when there's two. If you do it with two, you would basically have to, I guess you would have to isolate them, like have one do one thing, have another do the other. But the thing is, though, is that with noise and everything, they will follow each other. So maybe you can complete the knife challenge on one when it's just one left, like this guy. But honestly, I prefer to keep my distance and just, get these guys from far away.
was only to make your suffering all the worse.
You sick!
Aquí nos despedimos, señor Kennedy.
Hang in there, Ashley. I'm coming for you.
This section is fairly long because you're essentially making your way back to the surface, so you're at least 5 levels below the surface, just so that you can get back to the throne room where you were earlier.
Gave up the ghost, huh? Talk about sticking the landing.
So, I've been thinking about this game. I have no complaints, but they're missing on some areas that were in the original that are not in this one. Like, when you fight the Garrador in the basement, in the remake, in the original, you fight the Garrador in the golden cage, basically. You fight him in a cage match
The hell?
in the original, and you essentially have to escape from the cage before he kills you, and then you can kill him from there. He'll follow you around. If you don't have the ammo, he'll follow you around because he hears you walking, basically, because you can't crouch. Another section that they don't have, which I kind of wish that they did because it reminded me of like schlocky villains from like the 80s and 90s or early 90s of like James Bond. Like villains nowadays, they take themselves so seriously. Like everybody's like, "Oh, I want a villain who's like serious." I'm like, "Okay, well, you can be serious, but your motive is still murder, and that's not cool." But like James Bond movies were like, oh, in the 80s and 90s, they're just like, we just want lots of money or we want to like turn the moon gold or something like that. Like just ridiculous story plots. And that was what the statue was. The statue of Salazar was this giant mechanized thing that tried to set you on fire or stomp on you, and it chased you. And you would have to basically like run from it. And eventually it will, I think, fall off the wall of like the castle. And we don't have that section. And I wish that we did because then anybody who's essentially playing this one, playing this remake for the first time, they've never played the original. I want them to experience that so that they could be like, what the fuck is this? Because that was what was going through my mind. I was like, this dude literally have a giant mechanized robot that's trying to kill me? Like, what type of shit is this? So yeah, I wish they still kept it, but I understand why they didn't. It just didn't make sense story wise. It just didn't make sense.
Body armor's not looking great.
I thought that blue light was a glitch and that Leon was saying give me a break because he still has like a long way to go. And he's like, are you serious right now? But no, like it looks like the developers have essentially been adding uh audio cues, visual cues, and things like that in the game for specific characters. So with Leon, that blue light, the shift in the blue light, and him essentially grabbing his head and shows that he's being affected by the parasite. And then, when we were fighting the knights as Ashley, there was like this high like noise. Like it was a very, very high pitched noise. Like it kind of sounded like, I don't know if anybody's ever heard like electronics powering down, but like your TV can sometimes give off like a high pitched whining noise. And not a lot of people can hear it. Of course, people with hearing impairment and deafness, they definitely won't be able to hear it. But it's like this high pitched whine. And we were hearing that. I was hearing that when I was running with Ashley away from like the nights, and it would go away when there was no nights, but then it would come back when they were. And I thought that was really clever to kind of show like, to me, it felt like the developers were trying to show adrenaline response because they do it in movies where they have like the flash grenade or like the focus where everything's like all intense and focused and like there's echoey and like everybody's like being drowned out by like this high pitched noise. And
Welcome.
so I think that
Can
that's
I
the developers
interest you?
essentially like trying to
Easy.
do
Crossing your
um,
T's, dotting your I's.
the adrenaline
That's the
response in
way.
a body. And so I think that that's pretty cool that they're adding all of
Better
these
to be
little like
over prepared than
things to the
under.
story.
Your weapons are in good hands, mate. I'll see you right. A deal well struck. Ah, I'll buy it at a high price. Don't get yourself killed now. Welcome. Got a selection of good things on sale, stranger. What's that? How have we an interesting choice? Come back anytime. Hello, stranger. Oh, breaks over. I suppose.
Since we're heading towards the end, I'm just gonna let the rest of this play through and I'll just say my goodbyes now. So, thank you again for joining us on this. I know a lot of people who were playing Resident Evil already like sat through it and streamed all like 20 hours of the game and are now basically working on like their impossible modes and things like that, are moving on to like new games. But I'm glad that you're just sticking around for this because I like basically taking a slower approach and exploring games, and I know that YouTube usually doesn't like that. They want you to essentially run through and go on to the next big thing if you are like a streamer. or if you like do video games, or if you're like a blogger or stuff like that. They want you to do one thing and then go on to the next trend. And as much as I would like to do that, I don't have the time to do that. So, YouTube is just gonna have to accept my slower videos and slower approach to being like a YouTuber. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and let the rest of this run through, and I will see you in the next one. You have a good rest of your day. Bye.
These people are not right.
Why not treat yourself, mate?